He's good. They need to extend him. I think, like, if you trade him, you'll get a ton for him. But how much longer can you trade off huge assets who want to be here, who are in their prime? And if you trade him, you will then just head into the offseason
needing to sign a pitcher.
To sign someone like him.
Because you've boxed yourself into saying and being a real big market challenger next year.
Normally, I'm the guy that says trade him. I was all about trading Contreras. You know what I mean? I'm normally fine with asset is expiring contract. You have to trade the player.
Yeah, I think they're sellers right now.
I do too, but you can be a seller and not trade Stroman. Like, if he says he wants to be here and you don't have an obvious replacement for him and you clearly have the money, I think you have to sign him.
He's a mercurial guy, as you and I have talked about before.
Well, right. So that's the variable.
That is a big variable.
But we are not going to have the answer to that.
No.
Like, do they have something internal that gives them pause of what type of teammate he would be with, like, long-term security? Or is it possible that it was just a bad fit in New York and the big market, high-intensity, but largely lovable place? He doesn't take a lot of local heat. He doesn't get booed. He doesn't get heckled.
He also does not put himself out there locally, specifically, to take that kind of heat, other than fully controlled social media posts and him being in control of the message, which is a guy who has grown up and dealt with a bunch of bad stuff that he's had to deal with, and now is trying to control and maintain that. So, but I don't know how they feel about that part of it that you just gave voice to, Danny. But the thing is, having signed Tyone and having Tyone money and Stroman money means you need lots of good young starting pitchers. Like, I don't know if they're going to go out and spend money on a third veteran starting pitcher. It's not.
That's not their model. Their model has been to develop, even if some of these guys like Steele end up arriving in their prime at 28, 29, rather than 25 or 26.
Yeah, it's their dream model, but so it's their dream model, but how much of their dream model is actually going to be achievable, and by when?
And so you're a seller at 3 straight post-COVID trade deadlines? That's an impossible sell. Not that, like, everybody would get fired or whatever, but you'd be getting Fs across the board. That'd be an F for Jed. That'd be an F.
Right now, look at the signings.
Even if the organization, like, the underbelly is healthy with pitching development and all of that, prospect rankings, whatever, like, big league production, if you're a seller at 3 straight deadlines, which they are hurtling towards being, I think a way to mend that a bit is saying, we signed Stroman and we are keeping Stroman. Like, I don't think it's position A, but what do you do if you lose him? Who's your best starter?
No,
Steele?
It makes, yes, it's Steele.
Right, and then who's 2?
Ben Brown.
Right. It's not, let's see what Hendricks comes
Smiley,
back as.
who was bad on Sunday.
But, next year you are supposed to be competing on opening day.
Well, Joe Sheehan just posted this. He said his conclusion with Big Cubs piece is the Cubs being a very good team in 2023 was always wish casting. The talent base was never there to win 90. Their offseason moves seemed less aimed at winning games than winning press conferences. Recognizing this team's limitations and reversing that process, taking the focus off the 2023 team to make the ones better from 24 to 27 is the way for Hoyer and Hawkins to go.
Well, I didn't think that they were a winner this year either, but it's if you're not signing Stroman, you are just not close to being a contender.
They have the next 12 games to really, try to get control of this thing, and it's rough. It's a big win yesterday. You got 2 more against the best team in baseball. Then you're on the road for 10 Dodgers, Padres, Giants. You come back in 2 weeks, you could be out of it.
But the flip
fully
side
by
is,
the middle of June.
The flip side
or you
is,
could be maintaining and buying yourself another couple of weeks to declare.
They're leading the National League in on-base percentage.
Yeah, so they're still getting on,
and they are over 100 as a team. WRC plus. I think they're 105. The offense isn't the problem.
It's the bullpen is an absolute disaster and 2/5 of rotation.
And you can fix a bullpen. So I mean, I don't think it's smart to chase this. I don't.
Neither do I.
But on-base percentage doesn't slump. You can always bet on base percentage. Like, you're going to score. If guys aren't out and they are on base, you could talk about clutch this or risp that. That stuff eventually comes out in the wash.
They declared a few weeks ago that they were going to chase this. Here comes Mervis. Here comes Morel. Down goes Madrigal when Hendricks comes back.
Out goes Hosmer.
Yeah, out goes Hosmer.
Yeah, but that none of that costs you anything.
Right. So with the bullpen, they could make a deal or two, or they could bring up some kids, but they're like, they're spinning bad plates. They're spinning bad plates. Jeremiah Estrada into that game in the fifth.
Yeah.
I totally understand. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to give a high leverage spot to one of your better arms because you don't know what the hell to do.
I asked Rossi about this today, about earning, how you give people a chance to get back into a circle of trust and how much you trust that even with high volatility season to season with veteran relievers, that a guy like Fulmer or Boxberger just is going to click on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really ugly bullpen, and nobody has defined a role. They tried to work it from the back at the beginning, and that fell apart, and then Thompson falling apart made it disastrous. I think Jed was right when he took the blame in terms of those vets, but I thought they would do a little more to try and to mix it up by now.